In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to start an LLC in Nebraska. My name is Eric, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through different ways that you can set up your LLC, but more importantly, you want to be familiar with certain terms that you may not have heard before. So if you've never heard the terms piercing the corporate veil, registered agent, or commingling funds, you're going to want to watch this entire video because I'm going to break all these down for you and why they're so important to make sure that you have a legit LLC that does not have cracks. So the first thing I want to talk about is going through the state website. So the page that you're seeing here is exactly where you would go if you're filing through the state website. And do know that all links and resources mentioned in this video will be in the description below for ease of access for you. So what you'd want to do with setting up an LLC is click this first button here, and then we're going to scroll down to limited liability company and a domestic right here. And we'll talk about domestic and foreign LLCs later in this video as well. So I've entered some fake information in here just so that we can see the next steps in this process. I'm going to say it's effective when filed, and then we're going to click continue. So this is where I get a little frustrated with the state website is it's asking you who your registered agent is and just telling you to put a name in as it appears in your document. And you're like, wait a minute, like what is a registered agent? So why don't we take a moment to explain what that is? This is a really good article on InkFile that explains everything about a registered agent. If you're not familiar with InkFile, it's a free online legal tool, and I say free loosely, and I'll explain that in a minute. But you can get set up for as little as $0 with your LLC with them, but there are some catches. But right here is the 5 bullet points of what a registered agent is. It's official letters and correspondence from your Secretary of State. So this is a third party that exists within your state, and they're handling those official letters and correspondence. They also handle service of process notices. So unfortunate case that you're sued, they're making sure that you're getting all your documents and you're appearing in court. Official federal government correspondence information and notifications, tax forms and requests for payment, and requests to complete permits, company filings, or reports. Now, the registered agent is really important because they're making sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's with your LLC. So why don't we take a quick moment to just kind of explain what an LLC is and what it is not, because sometimes people get confused by that. Some people think there's some sort of tax advantage to setting up an LLC. There is not. It's simply for limiting your liability. So you can think about it on one side, you have your business assets. So that might be your business bank accounts, even your inventory, the computers that you use in that business. Those are all your business assets. On the other side, you have your personal assets, your personal car, home, personal bank accounts. What an LLC does is it draws a division between these two asset classes, and that division is called the corporate veil. Now, if an attorney were to sue you, what they're going to do is try to pierce the corporate veil. Now, that is legal jargon for basically they're trying to find cracks in your LLC so that they can not only come after your business assets, but your personal assets as well. So that's why an LLC is really important, but it's also important to make sure that you're doing things correctly. And that's where a registered agent, if you have a professional registered agent, they're going to make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's and you don't have cracks in that LLC. Now, one of the things that I like about this service here is on InkFile, if you scroll down, this is where it talks about business formation for as little as $0 plus state fee. Now, I'm going to let you know what the catch is on that because I'm sure you're like, all right, what is the catch? What you'll do here is just select LLC, and then we're going to zoom down here to Nebraska. All right. And there are 3 packages here, and I want to start with the silver package. So this one's $109. That state fee that is paid directly to the state. As we saw earlier, it starts at $105 and goes up from there depending on what you're doing. So it's the same price here, relatively speaking, could actually be less depending on how many pages you're submitting. The package fee is $0, and it comes with a free registered agent service for a year. So that registered agent service, $0 year 1, but year 2, year 3, that's where it changes. So if we go back to this article here on InkFile and you scroll down here, here's where you can see that it's $0 for the first year, but then it's $119 annually after that. So if you're setting up with this package, just know that year 2, year 3, that's where that registered agent is going to be $119, but it's money well spent again, because you're going to make sure that you have a legit LLC and you're handling everything that you should be handling with your business. Now, I want to mention a couple things in the gold package over here. That's where you start to see the package fee kick in of $149. All these items here are included with this package. The first one I want to highlight here is the EIN business tax number. So typically when you're getting set up with an LLC, you're going to need an EIN number. If you want to do this yourself, you can. This is the actual page that you do that with through the IRS. And again, this link will be in the description below. This will walk you through, if you need one, how to apply all of that. I'm a small business owner. I did this myself. Absolute pain in the butt. I feel like anytime I do anything with the IRS, pain in the butt. So just a disclaimer there, you can do it yourself, but you may find it takes longer than you think. But one of the other things I wanted to mention here is the business banking account. Currently, InkFile is set up through Bank of America, so they'll set you up with that business bank account day one. That's important for two reasons. The first is going back to something we said earlier in the video, and that was commingling funds. Now you can kind of see where this is going, but basically, let's say you were to start up your new business and you're running all of your income and expenses through your personal bank account. What you're doing is something called commingling funds, and that's a no-no. If an attorney were to sue you, that could potentially be a crack in your LLC to say you do not have a legit business, and now we're kind of piecing it all together. They're going to be able to pierce the corporate veil and come after your business assets and your personal assets. So that's why it's so important. Day one, get set up with a business bank account. The other reason too is it just makes bookkeeping and tax time so much easier because all your income and expenses are going to be in one business bank account. If you're commingling, it becomes very convoluted and difficult to figure out what's what. So I'd suggest even if you don't do it through InkFile, get set up with that right away, day one, or as early as you can. Now, in the Platinum package on this service, that's where it's kind of like a done for you everything. You can see you can even get domain name and business email set up, expedited filing, so you can get this all taken care of quicker, and all these other items that are included. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is, let's say you were to go with the gold package here. If you click this, any one of these packages that you go through, just know that there's a tax savings benefit. So it's a fully deductible business expense. So if you go through the state website, you go through InkFile, you hire an attorney, that is going to be deductible. Make sure you keep track of those receipts. Now, I haven't talked about hiring an attorney. With that, there's really three questions you want to ask yourself. The first is, how much inherent liability does this business idea that you have carry? So what I mean by that is, let's say that, it was something that's high liability, like a tree trimming service. Obviously, like you could drop a tree on a house, on a car, on a person, on an employee, high liability. If you're starting a comic book store, pretty low liability. If you have a high liability business, I would suggest talking to an attorney. Now, the downside of going with an attorney is you're going to spend anywhere from like $800 to $3,000 to get set up with an LLC. But if you do have a high liability business, that's something you may want to consider. The second thing you may want to consider is if you're doing sales in and out of state. So we talked about it earlier, domestic and foreign LLCs. That's where that's going to kind of play in. You may want to talk to an attorney about that. The third thing that you want to consider is if you're actually making income right now in your business. Now, if you're making $45,000 of net income in your business today, you may want to talk to an attorney because it may make sense to set you up as an LLC, but also with an S-Corp designation. Now, the reason for that is at around $45,000, $50,000 is where you can save on taxes by setting up with a different designation for your business. So the last thing I want to talk about is the LLC and S-Corp. The video that you see on the screen right here is going to walk you through and explain how you can save on taxes with that. Even if you're not making money today, that is helpful knowledge for down the road. So I'm going to catch you guys in that next video. And again, thank you for using my links in the description below.